buyers, you have all the leverage right now. And sellers, you might be thinking, should I offload my property for a reduced price or wait it out until spring? And that's what we're going to be going over here in this market update here. What the heck is actually happening here in the Fraser Valley? And what I want to do here is just break down all of the data so that you can have an idea of what's going on here, make your own assumptions, and then afterwards I'm going to give you my 2 cents, whether you're thinking about buying now or waiting, or if you think about selling now or potentially waiting as well. And then at the end, I'm going to show you these 2 real estate tools that are an absolute game changer, in my opinion, when it comes to just trying to figure out what to do in today's market. And so first thing I want to talk about here is actually the home prices. And now this is all residential. We're talking about the detached, the attached, and the condo market as a whole. And then we're going to get more specifically into the detached, attached, and condo market. So if that's you, stick around a little bit later. We're going to be getting more into the details on what's that. It's interesting what's going on there as well. But right now, as you can see here, home prices, benchmark home prices, they've been on a steady decline for really ever since last year in April, right? We see that natural increase here in the spring that happens just because there's a lot more activity happening. And then we've seen this, this decline ever since the beginning of this year and really the beginning of last year as well. And so the next thing I want to look at is just new listings. And it's funny because every city that I do market reports on, it's pretty much always the same thing when it happens to new listings, sales, activity, not so much pricing that falls exactly the suit. But like you could see here, the blue graph being this year, blue bar being this year, the black bar being last year. And as you can see, we're basically hitting the exact same numbers we did last year. So it makes it really easy to predict what's going to happen here, just at least in the near future. So when it comes to new listings, we've kind of passed that threshold now where we see a natural increase in the springtime. We see a natural increase in new listings around September, October. We've seen that. Now we're on the backside of that. And so you can expect a lot less new listings hitting the market here. And now we're looking at the total inventory here. Again, higher than last year, which is across the board everywhere in Canada. There's a lot more listings for that matter. But we're talking about Fraser Valley here for now. And as you can see here, listings they've kind of plateaued just a little bit here. And we're most likely going to see the exact same thing we do every year, where less listings come off the market because nobody wants to sell their home in the wintertime. So keep that in mind there. And then the last one here is these sales. Now, what's interesting is we didn't quite have the uptick in sales we did when compared to last year, which is kind of telling just to show you how strong the market really is right now. There's not that much. Prices are coming down. New listings are now coming down. Total inventory is coming down. And now we got sales here, which really we didn't quite see the uptick we usually do when it comes to fall. And so now we're in November, heading to December, January, February, we're going to see a lot less sales happening here. And so I bring all this up. So that's pretty much what's happening here at an all residential level. I just want to briefly touch on what the board is saying as far as what type of market we're in right now, because as you can see here, balanced market is between 20 and 12% sales to active listings ratio. So it's how many sales happen in a month versus how many active listings are out there. And as you can see, back in 2021, 2022, basically it was beyond a seller's market. It was like an extreme seller's market. Like the thing almost bust out of the the graph here. But now you can see October month end, we're hit 11%. We did see, as you can see here, it used to be like down to like, I think it was 9 or 10 or something, because there was a lot less sales happening. And then once we hit that October month where it naturally increases in sales, we can almost get that artificial uplift where it's like, oh, hey, the market's kind of coming back. Well, it's really just seasonally speaking, it comes up. And then once we're going to see November, December, we're actually going to see this October month end here as far as sales to active listings ratio become more and more into a buyer's market. And so now this is the part where I want to talk about what's going on specifically. And again, once we've talked about specifically what's going on, we're going to talk about what it means to buy in this market, what it means to sell in this market. So stick around for that. And then at the end, again, those 2 real estate tools that I think are an absolute game changer. So right here, we have the residential prices that are happening here. We've kind of seen the exact same thing happen here. It's almost laughable, right? When it comes to just the medium home prices here, we have quite a substantial decrease here in September, then, kind of a rebound here. And again, these are medium home prices. This is what I want you to just be aware of, because Median, essentially, you got 100 homes for sale. It grabs the middle one, and that is the price it uses. And so that's what we're seeing here when it comes to this graph here. Now we're going to see, a higher price point going up here. If it goes by last year, we probably will, but I imagine it's going to be somewhat less aggressive just because the market, where it's at and what's going on right now. But if you just look at the data here, sales increased a little bit, less activity. The sales active listings ratio, what I was talking about earlier, is anything below 12% is a buyer's market. So the detached market, well into a buyer's market. And I think once we get into November, this number will most likely come back down to be even more of a buyer's market. So the next segment I want to talk about here is the residential detached market. Now, this one's a little bit more predictable, I guess, where things are just slowly on its decline here. How far it's going to go, nobody knows. But right now, I think the overall sentiment, as far as what people are saying in the market out there, that we're just seeing a slight decrease across the board. So you can pretty much bank on that when it comes to the detached market as well. And same with the condo market, right? We haven't quite seen a massive change from last year's data. And then we've seen an increase in sales in October, which again is standard. Active listings, that sales to active listings ratio is 12%. Again, but if I go back to here, it was actually at 18%, which it'll most likely, I'm confident that's going to continue to go downwards after October here, once we get November's data here. But I do want to briefly touch on just what the Fraser Valley Real Estate Board is saying, because I think that's important just to state what they're saying, what they're publicly saying out to the market. And so right here, Fraser, October brings welcome boosts to Fraser Valley, but sales still lag seasonal averages. We've seen that. We didn't quite see the total amount of sales that we did last year. Fraser Valley home sales climbed for a second straight month in October, a sign that some buyers may be responding to steadily easing prices. I just call it it's what seasonally happens. So if you want to put a spin on that, buyers are coming back, well, it happens every year. It's just what happens. The Fraser Valley Real Estate Board recorded 1123 sales, a 17% increase from September, but a 16% below the same month last year. So we've seen less sales, a short-lived rise in September. New listings slowed in October, down 14% month over month and 7% year over year. Overall inventory remains well above seasonal norms. So again, we have a lot more listings, less sales. Basically, it's more of a buyer's market as we continue on here, with 10,121 active listings, down 4% from September, but up 15% year over year. Again, you've probably heard it 1,000 times by now. Listings at an all-time high. Motivated sellers are responding to increasingly competitive market conditions with more realistic pricing strategies, said the chair of the Fraser Valley Real Estate Board. As a result, we are seeing price softening, a shift that helps to facilitate sales in a slower market. Well, that's just the reality, right? If you want to sell your home in this market, you need to be the one that sticks out the most, the one that's the best on the street. And we're going to get to all that here just shortly here. But continuing on here across, the Fraser Valley remains firmly in a buyer's market with an overall sales to active listings ratio 11%. So again, 12% being the threshold. So we're in a buyer's market, up from 9% in September. The modest increase reflects a rise in sales among a slightly declined inventory. A balanced market is typically defined by a ratio of 12 to 20%. Now again, September is more realistically what's happening. October is when sales increase. And so it's not really a true reflection of things to come, I would say. Across the Fraser Valley in October, the average number of days to sell both a single family detached and a condo was 42 days, while a townhome was 37 days. And so just keep that in mind. If you're thinking about selling your home, that's what it takes. Now the question is, and I always question this when they talk about that type of data, is that are they talking about the cumulative days on market? Because what can happen is the home sale or the home on the market, it doesn't sell. Like I literally have an offer on a property right now where it's been on the market for 7 days. But if you go look back at the history, it was like 150 some odd days it's been on the market. So this to me isn't a true reflection of what's happening out there. I believe it's Well, I know it's a lot longer. While these early signs are encouraging, the path back to seasonal average sales levels will take some time. As more new supply comes on stream and sellers adapt to shifting dynamics, we expect the market to respond accordingly. Well, exactly. Like, if you want your house to sell, well, you're going to have to reduce your price. And if you're a buyer out there, well, you got a lot of options. And so you're not in any hurry to do anything, which is a good thing for you guys as well. But as promised, what does this actually mean for you? We've gone over a ton of information here. And so I want to speak specifically to the buyers and the sellers. And so if you're buying here in the last year, 2025, and even in the early 2026, listings are still high. You have more choices. Chances are you can go look at 5, 6, 7, 8 homes or townhomes or condos that are exactly what you're wanting, and you can kind of pick the best one. The next one being here, activity trends to be less in the winter. It's just a fact. When you look at the data over the last couple of years, every year there's less activity, there's less sales, less new listings, less inventory. And so doesn't mean there's not a new inventory coming on the market. And so what I would say, if you're seriously thinking about buying something, keep looking, because new inventory is going to hit the market, and who knows, maybe that seller is actually priced right, and then you can find something, have less competition, actually get it below market value, which would be huge for you. And the next one, prices are trending downwards. There's been a little bit of back and forth, but as a whole, when you stretch it out year, 2, 3 years, we've been on a constant decline over the last couple of years. And then the big thing is, can you wait? If you're a buyer right now, it's interesting, because right now I would say this is a great time to buy. There's lots of inventory. You're not pressured. You have your time. You can negotiate with these sellers, because there's just not as many buyers out there right now. And it's going to become more of that when we get into December and even January. And so it's a good time now, but if you can wait another couple months too, it's not a bad idea either. So what we're seeing out there is prices are softening, and it's just the way the market's going right now. So if it makes sense for you to move right now, do it. If it makes sense to move in a couple months, I don't see an issue with that either. And then it's still important to get pre-approved. I will always say this to the day I die, is that you need to get pre-approved. There's no sense going looking at a bunch of homes and realizing that you can't afford this. This is not the time to do that. Well, truthfully, it's never the time to do that. You should always go talk to a mortgage lender or a broker or someone that you trust, just to get the hard facts, and then go out and look at homes. Now we're talking to you sellers. So if you're selling here in 2025, maybe you have your house currently for sale, or you're thinking about selling your house right now. Price it right from the start. It shouldn't come as a surprise. That's what you need to do in this market, especially because we're slowly decreasing in our prices every month. And so what I don't want to happen is you list your home here and the market's here because you want to go slightly above the market because you think your home is worth more for some reason. And maybe it is, who knows? But then the market comes down, and then a couple weeks go by and you're like, okay, now I'll reduce my price. But the market's down here now. And so what you do is you just end up chasing the market down. And I've seen it so many times that it's just what happens. And so you need to price it right from the start. And then you also need to make your home stand out. I was literally at a house the other day, and don't get me wrong, I like cats and dogs. The whole place stunk like cats. And there's stuff everywhere. The place was dirty. Now I get it. You can't always have an immaculate home because nobody lives like the pictures. But at some point, you need to make your home stand out. You need to make your home at least an option, right? And so the big thing is, what I would say is, just fix what's broken. We don't want to walk into your home when you do a showing, them realize that this was broken, that's not working, okay, that's loose, that's do they take care of this even? Stains on here and there. It's it just makes buyers think about what else is wrong with the home. And when you're competing against 3, 4, 5 different homes, you want to be the one that stands out. And then you need to be ready for less activity. We're in November right now. We're coming to December and January, where there's really not near as much activity happening when it comes to sales, new listings, and all that stuff in the winter months. And so be ready for less activity. And so what I would say is, be more serious when buyers come through, right? Make sure your realtor's touching base with these buyers that come through, asking if they have any questions, really doing what they should have been doing the whole entire time, because you may only have 1 or 2 buyers that come through your home until springtime, which then everyone's wondering why your home's been on the market for so long, and they may not want to go see it either. And then the last one here, or last 2, I should say, stay flexible on your terms, because again, kind of loops back to what I was just saying there, is that there's not going to be as many buyers out there. So the ones you do come across that are interested and they want to talk and negotiate, be flexible, because you're probably going to have to be. And then the last one here is just no reason for selling. I don't want you to go through this entire process, frustrated, disappointed, mad. And maybe it's because the initial expectations weren't set properly. And that could be the realtor's fault, could be your fault. Who knows? But what I don't want you to happen is go through all this and then you don't sell your home, or you get frustrated and you just pull it off the market. Now, nothing against pulling your house off the market if things change, but the last thing you want to do is go through, like I say, all of this stuff for you not to sell your house, because that's why you put your house on the market in the first place. And so here's this first real estate tool that I want to show you here. You literally just scan this QR code. It's a zero conversation home evaluation. So all you got to do is literally put in your address. So let me just scan this real quick. Perfect. As you can see here, what's my home worth home evaluation tool here on my phone. And you just need a little bit of details here. And so what I'm going to do here is go over to realtor.ca. You can literally do this on your own. If you're thinking about buying a property, you can compare it to something on realtor.ca here. Or if you're thinking about selling your own property and just seeing what it could sell for in today's day, you can do that as well, because it'll grab the solds, it'll grab the actives, and just there's a little bit of AI involved as well. And I'll spit out a price here. So I'm going to put, I don't know, pick this property here. No affiliations here. So I'm just going to grab this address, go back here, type in, let's just see here, paste that one right there. Name, phone number, email, hit send. Perfect. Let's go over here. Boom. Okay, there it is. So it's saying it's almost $990,000. So it's about $30,000 under this one, but I'm curious to see how many days. Yeah. So it's been on 59 days in the market. So what the price this app says is probably more realistic when it comes to what it would sell for. And so there you go. Literally, it's that easy just to go grab a price evaluation of your home or a property that you're thinking about buying, just to see how it compares. Now, full transparency, I do get your information. So it's going to be myself or someone from my team reaching out to you just to see if you need any help. And if you don't, we'll go on our way. But if you have some questions about the market, you have some questions about, I don't know, selling a home or buying a home, we'll see if we can help you out with that. And here's the second tool that I wanted to show you. It's called a True Home Cost Calculator. It's a tool that I built just because there's a lot of clients of mine that were asking all these questions. And I was like, hey, you know what? Let me build a tool that will help you. And of course, if you have any questions, you still reach out to me, but just a useful tool. And so what I want to quickly just show you is what it all can do for you. So here's the buy tab. We have a buy tab, sell tab, and an own tab. So the buy tab, if you're thinking about purchasing a property and you're wondering what the heck are all the fees associated to buying a home? Well, this is exactly, it breaks it down for you exactly. It has a little checkbox, first time home buyer, home inspection, appraisal, utility setups, moving costs. It literally gives you a breakdown right here. Then if you're thinking about selling your home, here's the sell tab. You literally put in the expected sale price, real estate commissions. There's a bunch of other things you can fill out here if they apply to you. And then it spits out how much money that you'd have after everything's said and done. And then if you're thinking about buying a property, well, then that's when I'd go to this tab, fill it all out, and then you can see if you can actually afford that. But more importantly is what I want to get at here is the own tab here. If you've never owned a home, or you're thinking about owning a different home, selling your home and owning a different one, just breaking down what it costs monthly to live there so that you can work it backwards and see, okay, I got this much income. This is how much it costs to own that home every year or every month. Okay, do we have enough in the money in the bank? And that's just important. I want you to understand that so that you're not surprised moving into a home here. And so literally, you just fill out everything that applies here, and then it spits out a cost to you. So go use that as well. Now, I do live in the Fraser Valley, so if you have any questions or you want some more information on your specific situation, because again, all this advice I'm giving you here, it's more for the generic person, and everybody's situation is so different. So I would encourage you, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. The details are in the description there. But if you do want to stay up to date with what's happening here in the Fraser Valley, feel free to like and subscribe this content. So that way the algorithm sends you more of my content so you can stay up to date. But if you are curious on how much it costs to purchase a home, how much it costs to sell a home, or how much it costs just to own a home because you've never done one of those things before, I would encourage you to go watch this video right here as I literally break down all the hidden costs that are associated with home ownership. And that calculator that I showed you earlier is literally the tool that I use in this video here. So if you have any questions, just go watch that video and I'm probably gonna answer a bunch of them for you. But as always, I appreciate you watching, sticking around with me, and I'll see you in the next one.